The sky was dark. Heavy snow fell from above, covering everything in white. There was no sound except the wind, howling across the empty, frozen land. Far in the distance, a strange blue light blinked in the sky. Suddenly, it grew bigger and brighter. The snow shook. With a loud crash, a spaceship landed on the cold ground. 4 aliens stepped out of the broken ship. They were not like humans. Their skin was pale blue, their eyes large and shining, their hands thin with long fingers. They were scared and shaking. Their suits were made for warm planets. The freezing wind hit them like a knife. They hugged themselves, trying to stay warm, but it did not help. The leader, named Sira, looked around. She tried to stay strong for her team. "Stay together," she said. "We must find shelter." Her friend, Torque, was coughing. "It's too cold, Sira." "My hands. I can't feel them." He whispered. Sira wanted to help, but she did not know what to do. Their ship was badly damaged. The door was half open, letting the cold air inside. The control panel was dead. No power, no way to call for help. Only ice and snow everywhere. They had nothing warm to wear and nowhere to go. The youngest alien, Nova, was crying. "Are we going to die here?" she asked. Sira hugged her. "No, Nova. We will not die. We are survivors. We will find a way." But inside, Sira was scared too. The group tried to hide inside the ship, but it was getting colder every minute. The wind got stronger. Snow was coming inside the ship. Their bodies started to shake. Their teeth were chattering. It felt like the night would never end. Suddenly, they heard a sound outside the ship. It was a soft crunch, like someone walking in the snow. Sira froze. She looked at Torque and Nova. "Did you hear that?" The noise came again, closer this time. Step, step, step. Sira quietly told everyone to hide behind the broken seats. They held their breath. The steps stopped outside the ship. For a moment, everything was silent. Then a shadow moved past the broken window. Someone was out there, but they could not see who it was. Torque whispered, "What if it's a beast? Or an enemy?" Nova shook her head. "What if it's a human? I heard they are dangerous." Sira did not answer. She remembered stories about humans. Some stories were good, some were bad. But nobody knew the truth. Suddenly, the sound of metal hitting metal echoed. Someone was knocking on the ship's door. The aliens jumped in fear. The shadow outside moved again. Sira gathered her courage and peeked over the seat. Through the small window, she saw a shape tall, covered in thick clothes. Face hidden by a hood, the figure called out. Voice strong but calm. "Anyone inside? I can help you. Come out." Sira stayed quiet. Was this a trick? Was this human going to harm them? But the cold was getting worse. Nova could not stop shaking. Torque was almost fainting. The figure waited. Snow kept falling. Sira had to make a choice. Stay inside and freeze, or trust this stranger outside. She whispered to her team, "We must try. We have no choice." Slowly, she stood up, hands raised, showing. She had no weapons. She opened the broken ship door a little more. The cold air hit her like fire. She saw the human better now. Big boots, thick coat, warm gloves, and a kind face under the hood. The human was holding a long stick, but did not look angry or dangerous. The human spoke again, softer this time. "You will not survive the night here. Come with me." Sira looked back at her team. Nova's lips were blue. Torque was almost sleeping. Sira nodded to the human. "Please," Sira said. "Help us." The human took off his scarf and put it around Nova. He handed Sira a thick blanket. "My home is not far. I will take you there, but you must hurry." With no other option, Sira and her team followed the human into the snow. The wind was strong, but the human moved fast, making a path in the deep snow. The world outside was silent, except for the wind and the sound of their feet. As they walked, Sira felt fear and hope together. Who was this human? Why was he helping them? What would happen next? She did not know the answers, but she knew one thing: their only hope for survival was to trust this stranger. Behind them, the alien ship stood alone in the snow, slowly getting covered by ice. Ahead, the human led them into the darkness, towards an unknown future. The cold was still there, but for the first time, Sira felt a little warmth, maybe from the blanket, maybe from hope. But something was watching them from the darkness. And the real danger was yet to come. The world outside was like a frozen dream, white, silent, endless. Sira and her team followed the human, their steps sinking into the deep snow. The cold bit their faces, but the human's warm scarf and blanket helped a little. Sira watched the stranger carefully. The human moved with speed and confidence, as if he knew every hidden stone under the snow. His face was hard to see, shadowed. Under his thick hood, he didn't speak much, just said, "Keep moving. Not far now." His voice was calm, but strong. Nova was weak. She stumbled, but the human reached out and caught her. His gloves were rough, but his touch was gentle. Torque was looking back at their ship, now almost lost in the storm. Sira kept her eyes forward, wondering what was waiting for them. The path soon led to a hill. At the top, the wind howled louder, nearly blowing them off their feet. Suddenly, the human stopped. He knelt and brushed away the snow, revealing a metal hatch hidden beneath the white. He pressed his gloved hand on a square panel. There was a beep, then the hatch opened with a hiss. A wave of warm air rushed out. Sira gasped, feeling her body come back to life. The human went down first, then called, "Come," quickly. One by one, the aliens crawled inside, leaving the cold storm behind. Inside was a tunnel, narrow but warm, lit by small yellow lights. The human closed the hatch above them and locked it tight. The wind outside vanished. Only the sound of their own breaths remained. They followed the tunnel, shivering less now. At the end, the tunnel opened into a strange room. It was not like anything the aliens had seen: walls covered in shiny pipes, screens blinking with blue lights, a table full of odd metal objects, and pictures on the wall of strange, smiling faces. The human pulled off his hood. His hair was dark, eyes bright and sharp, but there was something tired about his face. "You are safe for now," he said. Sira nodded, still holding Nova close. "Thank you. Why did you help us?" The human paused. He poured hot liquid into metal cups and gave them to the aliens. "Drink," he said. "It will help you." The liquid tasted strange, bitter, and sweet, but soon they felt warmer. "My name is Mason," the human said at last. "I saw your ship come down. I've seen others before, but never like you." Nova looked around, eyes wide. "Is this your home?" Mason shook his head. "No, not really. This place, it's a shelter, for those who need it." He glanced at the door, then back at Sira. "But you cannot stay here long." "It's not safe." Torque frowned. "Not safe. Why?" Mason's eyes darkened. "You are not the only ones out there. In this cold, many things hunt. Not all of them are friendly." Sira felt a chill, even in the warm room. "Are you alone?" Mason did not answer at first. He looked at one of the pictures on the wall. To humans, smiling, arms around each other. "I am now," he said quietly. "But once, I was not." The room grew quiet. The sound of the storm outside faded away. Mason stood up. "You must rest. When morning comes, I will take you somewhere safer. But you must trust me." Nova looked scared. How do we know you are not like the others? The ones who hunt. Mason's face grew sad. You don't, but you have a choice. Stay here and wait for what hunts in the dark, or trust me and move fast. Suddenly, a loud bang echoed from somewhere deep in the tunnel. The walls shook. The lights flickered. Mason's eyes narrowed. Too late, he said. They've found us. Sierra jumped to her feet, ready to run. Mason pulled a strange tool from the Tabbola weapon. Maybe, or something else. He handed a small light to Sarah. If we get separated, follow the blue light, never the red. He opened another door at the back of the room, leading into a black hallway. Stay close. No matter what happens, do not scream. The things out there listen. They hurried into the dark, the blue light leading the way. The sound of banging grew louder, closer. Something was coming. Something that did not care if they were human or alien. Sierra's heart pounded. Who was this human, really?
What was?
Hunting them under the ice. They ran, their shadows long on the tunnel walls, chased by something unseen. In the darkness, trust was the only thing they could hold on to, and as the blue light flickered, Sierra knew their real journey was only just beginning. The tunnel seemed endless. Sierra ran, holding tight to Nova's hand. The blue light Mason had given her showed the way. Behind them, Torque and the last alien, Rill, moved quickly. They could hear loud bangs echoing through the tunnels, like something big was crashing after them. Mason's face was hard, his eyes always looking back, listening. Keep close. Don't stop, he whispered. After many twists and turns, the tunnel finally opened into a huge, dark space. The aliens stopped and stared. Above them, a roof made of glass and stone showed glowing crystals shining like stars. All around, hundreds of small homes and shops were built inside the cave walls. Lights hung everywhere, soft and golden, making the underground city glow in the darkness. People moved through the city, humans, but also others. Small green beings with bright eyes, tall, thin creatures with silver skin, and even robots carrying boxes. It was a place full of life, secrets, and hope. But everyone looked at Sierra and her group as they entered, some with curious eyes, others with fear. Mason led them down a narrow stairway. Stay close to me. Don't talk to anyone yet, he said. As they walked, Sierra could smell warm bread, see steam from little kitchens, and hear soft music coming from somewhere far away. Nova stopped and stared at a robot dog running after a laughing child. Is this a safe place? Nova whispered. Mason shook his head. Safe is never forever down here, but it is safer than outside. They reached a small house with a red door. Mason knocked 3 times, waited, then knocked twice more. The door opened slowly. A woman stood there, old and strong, with sharp eyes. She looked at Mason, then at the aliens. You brought more? She asked, her voice serious. They need help, Martha, Mason replied. Just for one night. Martha let them in. Inside, the house was warm, filled with the smell of soup. Sierra sat down, her legs shaking. Torque and Rill watched the door, still afraid. Martha gave them old blankets. Eat and rest, she said. You'll need your strength. She looked at Mason. Did anyone follow you? Maybe, Mason said softly. Martha nodded. She turned to Sarah and her group. You must learn our rules if you wish to stay. In this city, down here, we protect each other. But trust is not free. Sierra nodded, too tired to argue. She sipped the hot soup and felt her body relax, but her mind raced. Where were they? Why did everyone seem so careful, so secret? Nova asked, why do people live underground? Martha's eyes grew sad. Up there, the world is broken, cold, full of monsters and hunters. Down here, we build something new. Torque looked at Mason. What will happen to us? Mason looked at Martha, who nodded. Mason spoke quietly. Tonight, there will be a meeting. The city leaders will decide if you can stay. Syrah's heart sank. Another test. Another judgment. She had hoped for rest, but this city had its own dangers. A bell rang far outside, deep and loud. Martha's face grew tense. Time for the gathering, she said. They walked through the city's winding streets. Everyone was going the same way, towards a big hall at the center. At the door, guards with metal armor stood, watching every face. Inside the hall, hundreds of people filled the benches. Some wore old uniforms, others cloaks or rags. High above, a circle of elders sat on a balcony, faces in shadow. Mason guided Syrah and her group to the front. One of the elders stood up. Her voice was clear and strong. "We have new visitors," she said. "Aliens from the cold. Tell us, why have you come, and why should we trust you?" Syrah looked at Mason. He nodded. To her, she stood, her legs shaking. She spoke simply, her voice steady. "We crashed. We have nothing. We mean no harm. We just want to live." A silence filled the room. Then one of the elders spoke. "Down here, we have rules. Trust must be earned. Every new one must prove themselves." Another elder asked, "Would you protect this city if danger comes?" Syrah nodded. "Yes, we want peace. We can help." A third elder raised his hand. "Then tonight, you will take the test. If you pass, you stay. If you fail, you must leave and never return." A cold fear gripped Syrah's heart. Nova whispered, "What is the test?" "Number." One answered. Even Mason looked away. As the meeting ended, Martha led them back to her small house. "Rest now," she said. "The test will come soon. Down here, everyone has to prove they belong." Syrah lay down, listening to the city breathe above her. The underground world was full of secrets, danger, and rules. But for the first time, she felt a spark of hope. Maybe here they could start again. But outside, in the city's shadows, someone was already watching them, eyes sharp. Hungry and full of hate. Their fight for survival was not over. It had just begun. The underground city felt different at night. The warm lights grew dim. Shadows stretched long on the walls. People whispered in the dark. Somewhere far away, a clock rang 12 slow chimes. Syrah could not sleep. She lay on the small bed in Martha's house, her mind spinning. Nova and Torque were awake too. Rill sat in a corner, quietly watching the window. Suddenly, the door opened. Mason stood there, holding a small lantern. His face was serious. "It's time," he whispered. "The test begins now." Syrah stood up, her heart pounding. She woke. Nova gently nodded to Torque and Rill. Martha handed them each a thick jacket, boots, and a small bag. "You'll need these," she said, looking worried. Mason led them through empty streets. The whole city felt silent, holding its breath. They walked until they reached a tall gate. Behind it was another tunnel, colder and darker than before. At the gate, 3 elders stood waiting, each holding a glowing stick. The main elder woman with silver hair and eyes like ice spoke first. "This is the law of below. If you wish to stay, you must survive one night outside the walls." Syrah nodded, trying not to show her fear. The elder pointed to the tunnel. "You will find a box at the end. Bring it back before sunrise. But beware, the cold is not the only danger in the dark." Rill asked quietly, "What else is out there?" The elder's lips twisted into a sad smile. "There are things that hate the light. Some used to be human. Some never were. Torque shivered, but Sira held his hand tight. "We're ready," she said. The gate creaked open. The cold rushed in, biting their faces and hands. Mason gave Sira a flashlight. "Only use it if you're truly lost. And remember, trust each other. Down here, that's the only way to survive." He shut the gate behind them. The world became silent again. The tunnel was narrow at first, then grew wide and empty. Their footsteps echoed. Sira led the way, counting each step. Nova kept close, her eyes wide. Suddenly, a strange sound echoed ahead, a soft growl, low and wet, like something big and hungry waiting in the dark. The group froze. Torque pointed. Their shadows moving. Sira whispered, "Stay together. Move slow." They walked, the sound getting closer. Sira saw shapes in the dark, twisted figures, crawling along the walls, eyes glowing like tiny blue flames. The creatures watched them, hissing softly, but did not attack. Rill whispered, "Are they testing us too?" Sira didn't know. She just kept walking. They reached a fork in the tunnel, one path to the left, one to the right. Both were dark, but the right side seemed colder, the air sharp with frost. Sira saw footprints leading that way, big, heavy, like boots. She chose the right path. The others followed. The cold grew worse. Frost covered the tunnel walls, shining in their flashlights. Suddenly, Nova slipped. Her cry echoed. Sira caught her just in time. "Careful," she said softly. A low moan rose behind them. One of the blue-eyed creatures was following now, crawling fast. Rill picked up a stone and threw it. The creature hissed and disappeared into a crack. At last, they saw a small red light ahead. There was the box, a metal case with a glowing button. Torque ran forward, grabbed the box, and turned. "Let's go." But as they started back, the tunnel behind them filled with more of the blue-eyed creatures. They blocked the way, claws scraping the ground. Sira remembered what Mason had said. Trust each other. She held the flashlight high and shined it into the eyes of the nearest creature. It shrieked and jumped back, covering its face. "Light? They hate the light," Sira shouted. Nova and Rill took out their own flashlights and pointed them too. The creatures screamed and scattered, climbing up the walls to escape the beams. The group ran fast, clutching the metal box. The tunnel seemed even longer on the way back, but finally, the gate came into view. Elders were waiting, faces tense. Mason opened the gate. "Did you get it?" he asked. Sira handed him the box, her hands shaking. "We worked together," she said. "It was the only way." The elders nodded, impressed. The main elder smiled, her eyes softer now. "You passed. Not because you brought back the box, but because you trusted and protected each other." Martha hugged them all, tears in her eyes. "You are family now," she said. Sira felt her heart grow warm, even in the cold. But as the sun began to rise above the city, Sfera saw one of the blue-eyed creatures hiding in the shadows, watching her. The danger was not over. The real test had only just begun. Morning never really came to the underground city. A pale light filtered down from cracks above, making the cave feel cold and gray. Sira, Nova, Torque, and Rill sat in Martha's kitchen, wrapped in blankets. Their faces showed both relief and worry. They had survived the test, but something still felt wrong. Mason arrived, carrying a large, flat bag. He looked tired, but proud. "You passed," he said, smiling. "But the elders have one more request. There's something dangerous outside the city. We need your help." Sira frowned. "Another test?" Mason shook his head. "Not a test. This is real. Last night, something attacked our supply tunnel. 2 workers are missing. The elders believe it's the ice beast." At the words ice beast, the room grew silent. Nova's eyes widened. "What is it?" Martha answered, her voice low. "A monster from above. Some say it hunts with no sound, no mercy. It can smell fear in the dark." Sierra took a breath. "What do you want us to do?" Mason opened the flat bag. Inside was a map, a small, blinking device, and something that looked like a human coat, but made with shining blue threads. "This is a tracker," Mason explained, handing the blinking device to Sierra. "If you find the missing workers, press the button. The coat is special. It keeps out the cold and it might help you hide from the beast." Torque studied the coat. "Why us? Why not humans?" Mason hesitated, looking embarrassed. "Most humans are afraid. But you last night, you showed courage. Maybe the beast will not expect you." Sierra nodded. She saw that Mason's hands were shaking. "We'll try." The group followed Mason to the old supply tunnel, now blocked by broken stones. A cold wind rushed from the cracks. Sierra put on the strange coat, feeling warmth spread over her body. Nova pressed close to her side, holding the tracker tight. "Be careful," Mason whispered, his voice almost lost in the wind. They crawled through a gap in the stones. Inside, the tunnel was wide, the walls covered in frost and ice. Strange claw marks ran along the ceiling. It smelled of metal and fear. The tracker blinked red, then green. Sierra led the way, her footsteps soft on the icy floor. Torque held a small flashlight, moving the beam side to side. Suddenly, a noise echoed: thump, 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 slow and heavy. The group froze. A huge shadow passed at the end of the tunnel, blocking the light. Rill whispered, "The beast." They moved forward, hearts pounding. Nova pointed on the wall, a torn piece of a worker's coat. Blood drops stained the ice. Sierra pressed the button on the tracker. It blinked faster, showing they were close. The air grew colder, sharp enough to hurt their lungs. Torque tried to stay brave, but his hands shook suddenly. The beast roared a deep, earth-shaking sound that filled the tunnel. It was close now. Sierra turned off the flashlight and motioned for silence. The group pressed against the wall, holding their breath. The beast crept closer. Its eyes glowed white, its fur covered in snow and ice. Huge claws scraped the floor. It sniffed the air, searching. Nova squeezed Sierra's hand. Sierra felt a strange calm, like time slowed down. She remembered the shining coat. "Maybe it could do more," Sierra whispered softly. "Hold on to me." She wrapped the coat around all of them, pulling her team close. The coat glowed faintly blue. And suddenly the beast stopped. It turned its head, confused, sniffing but not seeing them. Slowly, it walked past, growling, but never saw the group hiding right in front of it. When it was gone, Sierra let out her breath. Torque smiled with relief. "That coat saved us." Rill nodded, "But the workers?" They moved deeper into the tunnel, following the tracker. At last, they found a small room, half buried in ice. Inside were the two missing workers, cold and scared, but alive. Sierra gave them the last bit of food and wrapped them in the coat. Suddenly, the beast returned, blocking the way out. The group was trapped. Sierra thought fast. She picked up a piece of broken pipe and hit it against the wall. The sound echoed down the tunnel, away from the room. The beast turned and followed the sound, thinking the group was escaping that way. "Now?" Sierra whispered. They ran, carrying the workers between them, hearts racing. The exit was close. The tracker's light, flashing bright green dot. Mason and Martha waited at the tunnel entrance. When they saw Sierra's group with the rescued workers, they cheered. The elders rushed to help. "You did it," Mason said, eyes shining. "You outsmarted the beast." Sierra smiled, tired but proud. The others hugged each other. The city was safe for now. But as they looked back, the beast's white eyes glowed in the darkness. It was still out there. And it would return. Asterisk, the underground city was full of whispers. News spread fast. Sira and her team had saved the missing workers. Some people called them heroes. Some looked at them with fear. Not everyone trusted aliens. Sira stood on a balcony, looking down at the city. She could see Mason talking with the elders. Nova and Rill helped Martha give food to the rescued workers. Torque walked the tunnels, always checking for danger. That night, the city called everyone to the Great Hall. The benches were crowded. Children sat on the floor. Old men leaned on canes. The air was heavy with hope and worry. The main elder stood, her silver hair shining under the lights. She spoke loud and clear. Last night, these strangers risked their lives for us. Today, we must decide. We must decide, they one of us, or should they leave forever? A loud murmur filled the hall. Some shouted, let them stay. Others whispered, it's too dangerous. Mason stood up. He spoke with strength, but sadness in his eyes. We need them. You all know what's coming. The hunters will be here soon. Humans can't fight alone. A tall, thin man in armor stood. Why should we trust aliens? What if they call their friends and take the city for themselves? Sira stood, heart pounding. She looked at every face. We came with nothing. You gave us food and hope. We only want to belong, but if you want us to leave, we will go. The room fell silent. Even the children stopped whispering. Suddenly, a huge bang shook the hall. The lights flickered. The elders stood up in alarm. Torque ran in, out of breath. There are strange ships above the city. I saw them through the cracks. They don't look human. Panic rose. People screamed. Some ran for the doors. Mason shouted, silence. Listen to me. He climbed up onto a bench so all could see. Those ships are not from Earth. They are Hunter's alien soldiers who destroy anything different. They chased Sira's ship here. Now they want this city. A loud voice echoed through speakers hidden in the cave walls. It was cold and sharp. People of Earth, hand over the aliens, or we will freeze your city and everyone in it. You have 1 hour. The room froze with fear. Sarah felt Nova's small hand grip hers. Nova whispered, are they really here for us? Sira nodded, feeling a terrible guilt. Yes, but we will not let them hurt anyone. The main elder looked at Mason. Then Sarah, you have a choice. You can leave now, and maybe they'll follow you. Or you can stay, and we all fight together. Torque stepped forward, voice shaking but strong. We won't run. We'll fight. This is our home now too. Rill nodded. Together we are stronger. Some humans stood up beside them. Martha spoke for the old and weak. If you leave, they'll hunt us next. We must stand together. Mason's eyes were bright with hope. It is your choice, he told Sira. Run, and the city may survive for a few days. Stay, and we can. All fight. Maybe, for the first time, humans and aliens will win together. Sira looked at her team, then at the scared faces all around the hall. She took a deep breath and raised her voice so everyone could hear. We will not run. We will stay. We will fight for this city as our own. But we need your help and your trust. A hush fell across the hall. Then a single voice, one of the rescued workers, shouted, let them stay. I would be dead without them. Slowly, people stood up. First Martha, then others, until almost everyone was standing. The elder nodded, her face full of pride. Tonight, you are one of us, she said. And tonight, we fight as one people. The city rushed into action. Old weapons were brought out. Shields were made from scrap metal, tunnels were blocked, and traps set. Sira and her team showed the humans how to use the shining coat to hide, and how to make loud noises to distract the ice beast. As the hour ended, the hunter ships landed above. Heavy boots echoed in the frozen tunnels. The enemy was coming. Sira stood with Mason at the front line, feeling fear and hope together. She squeezed Nova's hand, and Torque grinned at her. For the first time, humans and aliens faced the enemy, side by side and somewhere in the dark. Even the ice beast waited, choosing its side in the coming war. The real battle for the city, and for a new future, was about to begin. The city shook with fear and hope. In every tunnel, people held makeshift weapons and waited. Children hid behind walls. Old robots hummed, ready for orders. The hunter ships sat above, casting a cold shadow on the cracked stone ceiling. Zero stood at the front, next to Mason and Torque. Nova and Rill checked traps with Martha. Everyone's eyes were full of worry, but also of something new. Courage, a loudspeaker crackled. The enemy's cold voice echoed, "Give us the aliens. This is your last chance." Sira stepped forward. She turned on her flashlight and pointed it up so the hunters could see her face on the cameras. "We are not your prey. We will not run. Come and find us if you dare." The city waited. Then, with a crash, the hunters blasted open the old supply tunnel. Soldiers in black armor marched in. Their faces were hidden by glowing helmets. They fired freezing gas into the tunnels, turning stone to ice. Mason shouted, "Now!" People dropped metal doors to block the tunnel. Others threw loud noisemakers down side paths. Confusing the hunters, Sarah and Torque led a small group through a secret path. Their plan to sneak behind the hunters and shut down the enemy's control device. If they could stop the signal, the ships above would lose power. Nova and Rill moved with Martha through another tunnel, leading the children and weak to safety. But in the darkness, a new danger appeared. The ice beast, angry and wild. Its white eyes glowing in the dark. The beast roared. Nova froze. Rill stepped in front of her, ready to fight. But Martha did something different. She took off her warm scarf and tossed it to the beast. "You are cold, aren't you?" she whispered to everyone's shock. The beast sniffed the scarf, then lay down. Its huge body blocked the tunnel, keeping the hunters away from the children. Meanwhile, Sira and Torque reached the enemy's control box, a metal crate full of blinking lights. 2 hunters guarded it, sharp weapons ready. Sira whispered, "Remember what we learned?" She and Torque turned on the blue glowing coat, wrapping themselves in its light. They became almost invisible. Moving slowly, they crept behind the guards. Torque threw a stone far away. The guards turned. Sira jumped up and smashed the control box with a heavy tool. Sparks flew. The enemy ships above powered down, lights fading. The hunters in the tunnels panicked. Without orders, their weapons stopped working. Humans and aliens ran forward, capturing the confused soldiers. But one hunter, larger than the rest, spotted Sira. He rushed at her, raising his arm to strike. Sira stood tall and shouted, "This is our city. We are one family now." Before the hunter could reach her, the ice beast burst through the wall, roaring with all its might. The beast swatted the hunter aside, protecting Sira. Nova ran to Sira, hugging her tight. Torque, Riel, Mason, and Martha joined them. All around, people cheered. The enemy was beaten. The city was safe. After the battle, the elders gathered everyone. In the Great Hall, the city was battered but full of joy. Humans, aliens, robots, and even the great beast stood together. The main elder stood and spoke. "Today, we did not just save our city. We built something new. No more fear. No more walls between us. Today, You are all one family. Mason smiled. At Sira, you gave us hope when we had none. You are my family now, Sira. Sira's eyes filled with tears. And you are mine. Nova tugged at Sira's hand. Can we stay? Is it really home? Sira knelt and hugged Nova. Yes, we belong. Here now. The ice beast sat quietly at the edge of the hall. A child reached out, touching its cold fur. The beast didn't growl or move away. It just closed its eyes. Finally, at peace, people began to rebuild. New friends worked side by side. The city was different, now brighter, warmer, full of laughter. And new hope. Sira looked up at the cracked stone ceiling, dreaming of the stars above. She didn't know what tomorrow would bring, but she was not afraid anymore. She had found her family not just among her own kind, but among humans, robots, and even the strange beast of the snow, and in that hidden city. Deep under the ice, a new future began for everyone, together.